God's blessings to everyone. This is a DGHradio.com news and information news update for the Caribbean, and I'm reporter SGD reporting the news for September 26, 2025, covering the latest developments from across the Caribbean. We start with the tropics. Hurricane Gabrielle is strengthening over the open Atlantic, tracking north-northwest and staying east of Bermuda, but its long-period swells are fanning out across the basin. Marine operators from the northern leewards through the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico should expect rough surf and dangerous rip currents over the next couple of days, even without a direct hit. In the eastern Pacific, tropical storm Narda formed well off Mexico. It does not pose an immediate land threat but could complicate swell patterns for regional shipping. Why it matters: distant storms still claim lives close to home. Most injuries come from surf and currents, not wind. Question: should ferry and small craft services set firmer cancellation thresholds tied to long-period swell forecasts? Regional security and geopolitics are back in the spotlight. A joint U.S.-Dominican Republic operation intercepted a speedboat south of Isla Beata and recovered a large cocaine haul after U.S. forces destroyed the vessel. The U.S. military also confirmed multiple recent strikes on suspected drug boats elsewhere in the Caribbean, fueling debate over mission scope and legality. In Washington, senators moved a war powers resolution aimed at restricting unauthorized overseas strikes, while rights advocates warn that any use of force must meet necessity, proportionality, and accountability standards. Why it matters: the Caribbean depends on security partnerships, but legitimacy and transparency keep cooperation durable. Question: would a regional oversight mechanism improve trust in post-operation reviews when cross-border actions occur in our waters? Integration news: Belize marked 44 years of independence with a renewed call for regional unity, and beginning October 1st, Barbados, Belize, Dominica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines plan to roll out administrative systems for full freedom of movement among their citizens, live, work, and study rights without work permits, plus access to basic services within host country resources. Why it matters: freer movement can unlock jobs, skills, and cultural exchange, but host agencies must be resourced so services keep pace. Question: what guardrails ensure mobility strengthens inclusion without overloading schools and clinics? Economy and business: Trinidad and Tobago tabled compliance bills to boost tax enforcement, beneficial ownership transparency, and anti-money laundering rules, important for keeping correspondent banking lines open. Separately, the government proposed a temporary cryptocurrency ban through December 2027 while it designs a full regulatory regime. Supporters see consumer protection. Critics warn of stifled innovation. Across the region, business leaders urge proactive risk management as climate, commodity, and geopolitical shocks mount. Move beyond box ticking to real resilience planning. In tourism, Jamaica's JPEX opened with record buyer turnout as the island courts new airlift and deeper local linkages. In Barbados, small hospitality operators are asking for grants and low-cost financing to meet a new licensing bill's quality standards and steep fines. Why it matters: compliance builds credibility, but rules must be paired with clear guidance and access to capital, especially for small firms. Question: which incentives most effectively convert trade show interest into year-round seats and stays that benefit small suppliers? Transport disruptions: Inter-Caribbean Airways announced a wave of cancellations affecting routes through Turks and Caicos, Puerto Rico, St. Lucia, and Barbados, stranding many travelers. Airports and the carrier are working through rebookings and refunds, but options are limited on thin inter-island routes. Why it matters: fragile air links ripple through business, health travel, and tourism. Question: is it time for a coordinated Caribbean reliability standard and backup lift plan for essential routes? Public safety and justice: police in Barbados are probing the unnatural death of a female visitor at a hotel in St. Michael. In Trinidad and Tobago, investigators are examining the death of a 12-year-old found along a track in Saint Madeleine, and a separate case in which an off-duty soldier was shot by a police officer after an altercation. Both matters are under active review. Jamaica reported a fatal police encounter in St. Catherine after officers said an armed man attempted to draw a weapon. An independent oversight body is investigating. In St. Peter, Barbados, a crash ignited a police motorcycle, prompting fresh calls for junction safety. Barbados is also weighing a witness anonymity framework to protect vulnerable testimony while safeguarding fair trial rights. Why it matters. Communities need safety, accountability, and trust. Transparent processes determine legitimacy. Question: could sunset clauses, periodic court reporting, and body camera audits balance protection with due process? Health and readiness. Barbados confirmed 3 additional Mpox cases. Adults with local links who have recovered, bringing the total since 2022 to 6. Officials urge isolation until healed and continued hygiene practices. In St. Vincent and the Grenadines, 5 fully equipped ambulances were added to the fleet to improve response times and disaster readiness across difficult terrain. Why it matters. Strong pre-hospital care and clear public health messaging save lives. Question: what benchmarks, response times, survival rates, transfer intervals should guide ambulance deployment and funding? Community, education, and culture. In Barbados, the Graydon Sealy Secondary School launched its 50th anniversary celebrations with a 5-kilometer walk and health fair centering wellness for students and families. A police community homework program continues to mentor youth but seeks expanded funding, tutors, and space after helping hundreds since 2012. Regional music figures urge artistes to lean into cultural roots at Carafesta, arguing authenticity is a global advantage. The Trinidad and Tobago Media Fraternity is mourning veteran broadcaster Sterling Henderson, remembered for his commanding voice and mentorship. In Jamaica, the Constabulary Force grieves the sudden passing of Marine Division veteran Mark Melhado and is reviewing wellness supports for high-stress roles. Why it matters. Investing in youth, culture, and wellness strengthens social fabric and keeps at-risk communities connected to opportunity. Question: which partnerships, schools, business, faith, and arts most effectively scale after-school learning and creative careers? Sports and entertainment. In Caribbean Premier League cricket, Trinbago Knight Riders powered past St. Lucia Kings to reach the final, setting up a showdown with the Guyana Amazon Warriors, who held their nerve to advance at Providence. In football, Arsenal snatched a stoppage-time equalizer against Manchester City to share the points in a high-tempo clash. Barbados hosted the debut Bajan Brawl from All Caribbean Wrestling, blending athleticism and local flair to a big crowd. And the Junior Bajan Gems netballers opened their World Youth Cup campaign against South Africa, focusing on systems and composure. Why it matters. Regional sport and entertainment build pride, tourism, and pathways for young talent. Question: how can leagues and promoters widen community benefits, coaching clinics, local sourcing, and safer event standards? Governance and politics. In Guyana, the Alliance for Change entered an interim leadership phase after a tough election night, promising a systematic review as the country navigates high-stakes choices on oil revenue and infrastructure. In Trinidad and Tobago football, the National Association parted ways with its technical director as it resets development structures amid financial strain. Why it matters. Effective opposition and strong sporting institutions both elevate standards and accountability. Question: what reforms, electoral financing, transparency, youth pipelines, best rebuild trust and performance? These and other issues are of great concern within the islands. What do you think are some good solutions? Let us know your thoughts by texting your comments to 1-315-898-1449. You can also join our WhatsApp group and get the news, weather, and other insightful information delivered right to your smartphone. To join, text JOIN to 1-315-898-1449. Please include your name in the text message. You will receive a call to verify your request. I'm your reporter, SGD, signing off for DGHradio.com. Remember, SGD and DGH, together we source, gather, and deliver daily global headlines, because on DGHradio.com, the news never sleeps. Ciao.